Hey guys, well, it's time for another uh, Steve's roasting, so let's record a video. Doing another one of my Hall of Fame binder players. I've been enjoying just kind of doing these about once a week. So I kind of stick to the players who I have a few more cards of. So that might explain why I haven't gone into too much of like the older vintage cards. I'm trying to do some of the ones that at least spread a little bit of that. And so today, you've seen the title of the video, Carlton Fisk. Fisk is well, first of all, with Fisk, you kind of have to answer the question, what color socks does he wear? Like, is he a Boston Red Sox guy or is he a Chicago White Sox guy? And really, you can go either direction. His career is almost split in half. It's a little less with Boston. He's kind of more known for Boston, probably because of the very famous play in 1975. I don't know. It's got to be one of the most well-known plays in modern baseball history. It didn't hurt that Good Will Hunting talked about it. But anyway, Fisk is a player. He was very his work ethic was high. He definitely kind of old school when it came to baseball. Got very upset at players who didn't take it seriously. There's sort of a, a discussion he had with Deion Sanders a couple of different times, and he has struggles with people like that. Just people who didn't see them as taking the game seriously enough. So anyway, it kind of adds to the intensity of who he was and how he played, and because of that, by the time he retired, he'd set some pretty big records. For had most home runs by a catcher. He had passed Johnny Bench, who had the record previous. He's been since passed up, but when he retired, he held that record, and he also held the record for the most games caught, most games in that position. Of course, a lot of catchers end up later on in their careers moving to a different position or just becoming a designated hitter if they happen to have that ability, just because the catcher position is so hard on people. But he was able to do that and to sustain his ability to to handle that position for quite a long time. It's really pretty remarkable. He's not the most, but he's still the most seasoned as a catcher. I think he still holds that record. He also holds the records for most home runs by a catcher, over 40, I think 72. And so, like, he just has those sort of records that kind of speak to this idea of him working hard to be able to maintain his level of ability throughout his career. Certainly a lot to admire there. He never won an MVP, which is kind of funny. But he was in the top 10 4 different years. Three of those in his years with Boston, and then one, I think, in 83 or 84 when he was with the White Sox. He was an 11-time All-Star. He did win 3 Silver Sluggers. He was an extraordinary player, and he has some really cool cards. So I'm going to show you some cards. I'll point out the one, of course, that I have in my binder. For those who don't know, just a quick refresher. I do these videos about once a week. I'm putting together a Hall of Fame binder. If you want that explained, I have a separate video where I essentially select one Topps card from each Hall of Famer to add to my binder. And so I do these videos about once a week just to ask people for your input. Like, who do you think? Which card do you think? This we might figure out what some people think about the Red Sox or the White Sox, and whether Fisk should be remembered for which one of those. But anyway, I'll show you some cards. You can kind of talk that through. We'll talk through what I have, and also one or two that might be good replacements depending on how you want to approach Carlton Fisk. So let's turn the camera around and we'll show some cards. All right, so I don't have any of his first few years. I do. My earliest card for Fisk is his 75. I think argument could be made. This is not the one I have in my binder, but I think argument could be made for the 75, just because that's the year of the famous home run um, in that 6th game in the World Series. A set I certainly have grown to appreciate. 77. I love this card. I love him in his gear, and I love these little images of the catchers on the bottom. So that's his 77. Love that card. This is the card I currently have in my binder. And it's not necessarily a significant year, but that is one of my favorite images on a card. I love that card. I love the action shots. I love catcher's cards anyway. I did a video about that a couple weeks back, and I just really like the catcher's card. So 2 more with the Red Sox. 78. It's a good image with him. And the 80. That's my last one of him playing for the Red Sox. The interesting thing is, wherever you end this debate, you know, both teams retired his number, which I think is pretty cool. This is 83. I didn't have his 84. I kind of thought I had his 84, but I don't. The thing about his 84 is you could probably argue for 84. I think 84 is the season when he has the record for the longest game ever caught. He caught 25 innings in 1984, which is just crazy. I like his 86. If you're a White Sox fan, I think that's a pretty terrific image of him. It's not my favorite of his just because I like catchers and catchers gear, but I think that the design of the card really works for him quite well. 88. People talk about their childhood sets. The 88 was my childhood set. And look at you're getting later on in his career. I'll have a hard time reading those numbers. We're not done. Got a couple more. 89. 89. Again, a lot of stats. And then my last one will be the 90. Definitely looking older finally in this. Get a nice close-up image of his face. It's really the closest image of the cards that I have of his face. You get to see all the numbers in the back. So maybe I should take this down until we have just a couple from. We'll just leave it at one of each. Red Sox or White Sox. It's a tough call. So as usual, you can comment below, you know, if you think I've made the right choice, or if you think that there's one that I don't have that I should pick up. Nice thing about Fisk's card is most of them are pretty inexpensive, and so if you have a suggestion in any way, please let me know what you think I should do. If anything else that I haven't done, and just appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.